North Korea, 1982. A baby comes into the world with barbed wire already above his head, not near a prison, not in a city that has one, right in the middle of it. Camp 14, Kaechon. A political labor camp built to erase entire bloodlines. Parents, children, grandparents, locked away together for something one of them supposedly did. Most people inside have never stood in a normal street or seen a map of their own country. The idea of outside is as abstract as another planet. Shin dong-hyuk has never seen a skyline. He has never walked into a shop. The word freedom exists only as something guards use to describe what traitors don't deserve. He isn't someone who once lived freely and lost it. He is someone who was born with no concept that freedom existed at all. The perimeter doesn't just keep people in, it kills. The fence carries enough voltage to stop a person's heart in a heartbeat. A single touch is a death sentence. Past that fence lie steep hills and bare slopes that turn into lethal ice in winter and exhaustion in summer. Survivors talk about the terrain swallowing men long before any border guards do. Beyond those mountains is the rest of North Korea. Patrols, checkpoints, informants. Any stranger is suspicious. Anyone who looks half-starved and desperate is a problem to be reported. And even if someone made it through that, they'd still have to cross into China, a frontier watched, patrolled, and dangerous in its own right. From the moment they can understand words, prisoners are told the same thing. There is nowhere safer than inside the camp, because everywhere else will kill you faster. Most of them believe it. The guards believe it too. When someone tries anyway, everyone sees what happens. The executions are staged in front of the entire camp. Bodies tied up, shots fired, or nooses tightened, while hundreds of eyes are forced to watch. No one is allowed to look away. The lesson is simple. This is the only world you have. There is no second option. When this story starts, Shin isn't thinking about escape, rebellion, or justice. He's thinking about surviving until tomorrow. He is the child of two prisoners who were allowed to have a reward marriage, brief supervised nights together granted for obedience. He grows up in a barracks school where kindness is suspicious and loyalty is measured by how quickly you report others. As a teenager, he overhears his mother and older brother whispering about running away. He doesn't see them as family, planning a desperate bid for freedom. He sees them as rule breakers who could drag him down with them. He goes to a guard. The camp stages their punishment in front of him. His mother and brother are executed while he stands among the crowd, watching the result of the information he gave. He feels nothing he would recognize as guilt. The system has done its work. In his mind, he followed the rules and stayed alive. Years pass. Then, around 2004, everything starts to tilt. A new inmate arrives. Park. Older. Different. Carrying himself like someone who doesn't quite belong in a place like this. Guards order Shin to stay close to him, to listen, to report anything suspicious about his background or politics. Instead of secrets about politics, Shin hears something much more dangerous. Park talks about things Shin didn't know were real. Meat sizzling in a restaurant, street markets full of food, neon signs over busy crossings, the sea stretching to the horizon. He mentions China like it's a place you can actually walk to. For the first time, Shin understands that the fence is not the edge of the world. There is something on the other side, and in a camp built on the idea that nothing exists beyond its borders, that realization is the most subversive thought a prisoner can have. Once Shin has it, it refuses to leave. Camp 14 isn't run like a normal prison with a sentence and a release date. It functions more like a sealed ecosystem. Before sunrise, sirens or shouts drag prisoners from their bunks. Columns of workers move out to fields, to mines, to workshops. They return only when it's dark again. Sleep, work, for decades. Rations are calculated to keep people barely moving. A bowl of corn gruel, a bit of cabbage, salt if they're lucky. Anyone who wants to live longer learns to hunt rats, pick undetected grains from the ground, or chew on anything that doesn't poison them. Children grow up in classrooms where they recite camp rules instead of songs. They are taught that reporting a parent is an act of loyalty, not betrayal. Informers are praised. Those who trust others disappear. There are no courtrooms, no lawyers. Nobody counts down the years until release. You enter as a toddler or a teenager or an old man, and the assumption is that you'll die somewhere inside the fence. Guards don't have to point their rifles at every person all day long because the structure does the work for them. Hunger, fear, and conditioning keep people in line more effectively than any wall. After decades of this, prisoners police each other. They watch one another for signs of weakness or disobedience, knowing that turning someone in might mean one more day of food for themselves. Betrayal becomes the safest choice. Trust becomes an invitation to die. This is the environment that shaped Shin. And if he wants to climb a fence no one is supposed to touch, let alone cross, he first has to break the rules that have been wired into his own mind. Park has information, detailed, specific, actionable information. He knows the fence, which sections carry the most current, which guards rotate at what hours, and where the terrain beyond the wire is passable. He spent years outside. He has a map inside his head that no prisoner born in the camp could ever possess. And Shin has something. Park doesn't. Shin knows the camp from the inside. He knows the guard rhythms, the blind spots in the patrol routes, and the one section of fence near the power plant where the current has been unreliable. On paper, Camp 14 is designed to be escape-proof. Prisoners are born here, kept ignorant of the outside world, penned in by mountains, and fear as much as by concrete and wire. The entire system exists to make sure no one ever combines outside knowledge with inside access. But that is exactly what has happened. For the first time, a man who has seen the world beyond the fence is sharing a barracks with someone who knows every inch inside it. Together, they have something neither has alone: a route. And in a place built to eliminate possibilities, that single route is enough to turn impossible into almost possible. And almost is all they need. They plan in silence and in fragments. No written notes, no long conversations. A word here, a look there. Two men standing near each other in a field, speaking without moving their lips. They identify the section of fence near the power plant. Low current. One guard tower with a limited sightline. A gap between patrol rotations, approximately 4 minutes. 4 minutes to reach the fence, cross it without dying, and disappear into the dark before anyone looks. They decide on winter. Cold slows the guards. Dark comes early. The mountains beyond the camp are brutal in winter, but brutal means empty. Nobody patrols empty. They wait. They watch. They say nothing. One night in early January 2005, Shin watches the guard tower. The light inside is still. The silhouette of the guard doesn't move for 6 minutes. 6 minutes, not 4. He memorizes it, says nothing, waits 3 more nights. The same pattern repeats. The guard is sleeping at his post. It is the smallest possible advantage. A tired guard, a 6-minute window instead of 4. But in Camp 14, where every advantage is impossible, it is everything. 2 nights before they plan to move, the camp shifts. A prisoner in another unit is caught stealing food. Standard punishment, public beating, reduced rations, a reminder to everyone watching that the rules are absolute, but the guards are tense afterward. More alert. Patrols tighten. Flashlights sweep across the yard longer than usual. At roll call, one officer walks the line more slowly, eyes lingering on faces as if trying to read thoughts. Twice, Shin feels a beam of light pause on him. He forces himself not to look away too fast. One evening, as he glances up at the guard tower, the guard inside turns his head, just for a second, in his direction. Shin's stomach drops. Did they notice him watching the tower? Does someone suspect something? He and Park exchange a single look across the yard. Wait. They wait 4 more days. Each night, they check the tower. Each night, the guard sits a little longer, slumps a little deeper. The tension in the camp slowly bleeds back into routine. The pattern returns. Then Park tells Shin, quietly, without looking at him, "Tonight, there may not be another." January 2nd, 2005, after midnight, they move through the dark toward the fence. No running. Slow, low, deliberate. Every step is calculated to make no sound. The guard tower is still. They reach the fence. Park goes first. He touches the wire. The current hits him. He collapses against the fence, body seizing, held against the wire by the electricity itself. He is dead within seconds. Shin doesn't stop. He uses Park's body as insulation and crawls over the fence. The current burns through him, his legs, his hands. He pulls himself over the top and falls to the other side. He lies on the frozen ground outside Camp 14. He cannot feel his legs. His hands are burned. The cold is absolute. He gets up anyway. He runs. Shin crosses into China on foot. For the first time in his life, there is no fence to mark the edge of his world. Only snow, trees, and distant lights he doesn't understand. The silence is different here. No loudspeakers, no roll calls, just wind. The first night, he hides in a barn, buried in straw. He falls asleep expecting to be kicked awake by a guard. Morning comes. No one is standing over him. He moves through China disguised as a local laborer, taking odd jobs, stealing food when he hasn't to, trying not to be noticed. He sees markets overflowing with food in a single street that would have fed his entire unit for weeks. He watches families walk together without fear of being separated. He has to remind himself not to stare. Eventually, he makes contact with activists. In 2006, he reached South Korea. He is the only person known to have escaped from a total control zone, a camp where prisoners are born, not sentenced. He testifies before the United Nations. His account becomes part of the formal record of North Korean human rights abuses. For the first time, the world hears what a place like Camp 14 really is, not just as a rumor, but as lived memory. Camp 14 still exists. Shin dong-hyuk did not escape because he was brave. He escaped because one man told him there was something beyond the fence, and that idea, once inside him, could not be contained. The most dangerous thing in a system built on control is not a weapon. It is a person who finally understands they were never supposed to be there,